Have you ever spilled a glass of milk, or any liquid for that matter? Did you know that that spilled milk can have a beautiful symbolic significance of your walk with the Lord? In letting the Philippian people know just how much he loved them and how much he appreciated their sacrifice, Paul describes his own sacrifice as a glass being knocked over, its contents being spilled out. He had told them to hold firmly to what they believed so that their work would not be in vain. He had talked about living faithfully all the way to the end. So when his mind turned to the end, he wrote in Philippians 1 verse 8, "But I will rejoice, even if I lose my life, pouring it out like a liquid offering to God, just like your faithful service is an offering to God." And I want all of you to share that joy. For Paul, his whole essence in life was about serving God and people. Even if serving God cost him his earthly life, he saw it as a price that was worth it. He describes our service to God as a liquid offering poured out to God. The Greek word is spendo. It means to be poured out. It symbolizes total surrender. It is like taking a glass of milk and completely pouring it out on the table or the floor. It's holding nothing back. That pouring out is an all-in giving of oneself to the Lord and his ministry. Paul saw himself as being poured out as a sacrifice, like an Old Testament sacrificial lamb that had given its all on the altar. Paul's example provokes us to consider our own level of commitment. Do we give a token amount out of our glass, or do we pour ourselves out? Do you pour out a little, making sure that you keep a little for yourself? Do you think that we are entitled to keeping a little bit of the milk in the glass for ourselves? For the past 3 weeks at Crosswater, we've been talking about being all in for Jesus. Are we truly all in, or are we simply partially in? Let me encourage you today to knock the glass over. Let yourself and your heart be spilled out completely. An old friend of mine, Steve Green, recorded a beautiful song that depicts this very act of sacrifice. It's called "Broken and Spilled Out." The words of the song say this: "One day a plain village woman, driven by love for her Lord, recklessly poured out a valuable essence, disregarding the scorn. And once it was broken and spilled out, a fragrance filled all the room, like a prisoner released from its shackles, like a spirit set free from the tomb. Broken and spilled out, just for love of you, Jesus, my most precious treasure lavished on thee. Broken and spilled out and poured at your feet in sweet abandon, let me be spilled out and used up for thee." When you were God, Lord, you were God's precious treasure, his loved and own perfect Son, sent here to show me the love of the Father. Just for love it was done. And though you were perfect and holy, you gave up yourself willingly. You spared no expense for my pardon. You were used up and wasted for me. Broken and spilled out just for love of me, Jesus, God's most precious treasure lavished on me. You were broken and spilled out and poured at my feet. In sweet abandon, you were spilled out and used up for me. You can hear Steve sing this beautiful song on YouTube by Googling Steve Green and "Broken and Spilled Out." God bless you today as you pour yourself out as an offering to the Lord.